Gaurdie Banister Jr. was born and raised in the small community of Casper, Wyoming, along with his sister Gaurdie.
I started my childhood in Casper, Wyoming. I was born and raised there, which is kind of strange. Not a lot of black folk coming from Casper, Wyoming, or even people from Wyoming, let alone. But my parents made a conscious decision that they didn't want their children raised in the segregated South. They were both from New Orleans, Louisiana. Casper was a small community, right? I mean, it had probably 40,000 people at its peak there, and so it was a great experience. I was in the public schools there.
After graduating high school, Gaurdie went on to study engineering and play basketball at the South Dakota School of Mines.
Yeah, I am a tinkerer, and I always liked math and science. I used to build model cars and sort of tinker with stuff. And so when I was in high school, my chemistry teacher was saying, hey, you should think about engineering. Okay, that's fine. And ultimately, when it boiled down to me going to South Dakota School of Mines for college, I was a National Merit finalist, and so I was getting bombarded with all these different places, whether it was Northwestern or MIT or Georgia Tech. I had a buddy of mine got in the South Dakota School of Mines, and I figured if he could get in, then I could. And so I went to school at South Dakota School of Mines. So yeah, I mean, I turned out I was the first African-American graduate of South Dakota School of Mines.
After graduation from college, Gaurdie began a long, successful career at Shell Oil.
I started out as a facilities engineer in the Gulf of Mexico, which was a person who was responsible for helping people in the field get their equipment repaired, fixed, have it keep running. And they said, hey, we like you, but you got to move. And so my wife and I picked up and moved to Bakersfield, California to do this big CO2 project. Everybody hears about CO2 today, and then kind of the rest is history, financial, middle management. Came back to Houston in the corporate office, got the holy water sprinkled on me, and then went back to New Orleans into the shallow water, then into the deep water, and I was there when we were putting on big deep water structures. Came back to the onshore, ran the whole onshore for Shell, then the region in the US or in the Americas, then to Singapore, region in Asia, and then came back to Bakersfield to run Air Energy, which was a subsidiary that was jointly owned by Shell and Exxon, and that's where I finished my career as CEO of Air Energy out in Bakersfield.
Through it all, Gaurdie credits his parents and family to shaping him into the man he is today.
When I look back at sort of who influenced me when I was growing up, I mean, I have to start with my parents, right? I mean, mom and dad, they were disciplinarians, very hard workers, and they always told my sister and I, you are going to go to college. There was never any question whatsoever about us going to college. And then, oh, by the way, we always had to get good grades. You had to do your homework, you had to study. So my parents instilled in me this work ethic, sort of a relentless kind of work ethic that ultimately evolved from me. And I think that had a big influence on sort of who I am today.
And Gaurdie has advice for the younger generation of today.
For the young people today, I'd say there's two or three things that I'd say. Number one is that it's just really, really important that you know and understand who you are. That is, with all the things that go on around us today, social media and that sort of thing, it's just really important to know who you are and to understand that you belong. Understand that whatever your circumstances are in life, you belong, but sort of know your grounding, know internally what you stand for. I just think that's really, really important.
Gaurdie Banister Jr., 2023 inductee into the J.A. Hall of Achievement.